Hello everybody, thank you for joining me. I'll just get my slides organised. Okay, so slides at the start perhaps. Okay, here we are. Thank you for coming. The Flip collaborates are terrific because it just gives you an opportunity to get your head around the context of the assessment and prepare any questions that we can work through together on Thursday. So hopefully you've got some time that you can just set aside now to just have a listen, jot down any things that you're not sure of, and then we can talk further in the next few days. You can also post on the discussion board as you go, so I'm happy to field questions that way as well. I was also thinking that it may even be a little bit hard to get your head around this. I know at the moment I'm working through your assessing for Assessment 1B, which I'm really enjoying. However, it's tricky when you're thinking ahead for the next assessment. And I know at the moment there's lots of time. We've got around 3 weeks to progress, but it certainly creeps up on you. So I guess the earlier the better. So at least you can start planning ahead and getting yourself organised. And once the 6th of February comes along, it's not going to be a huge rush. So that's always a good plan. Okay, so this assignment is a folio. It's a word limit of 2,500 words, which always seems daunting to begin with. And then when you're almost finished, it's like something that you're well over. So it's always the word limit's always a hard one. But there is that leeway of 10% either side. So just keep that in mind. Quite a heavy weighting for this assessment task. We're looking at 60%. So please just make sure you've got a strong understanding of the context and what things are required, because that's what we'll be looking for once we're assessing you. And importantly, the due date is 5 p.m. Monday, the 6th of February, and that is week 12. So once we've made our way to that point, you'll be able to relax, either get organised for graduation or start thinking ahead for your next teaching period. So yeah, not long to go. Okay, so the assignment details for this task. I just want to draw your attention to the word authentic there, and I guess that in your growth as you come along on the unit, I guess we've looked at it from a few lenses. So we've had the idea of, what is it that was in Assessment 1A, and then the how and the why in Assessment 1B. And now in Assessment 2, we're really looking at your ability to implement, plan, and evaluate the content. So that's what we're looking for. You'll also demonstrate your personal knowledge and ability to plan and implement literacy across the curriculum, and you'll critically evaluate your professional growth as a teacher and demonstrate your developing ability to meet your personal literacy and other requirements of professional teaching. So there's the internal parts of this unit, and then there's also the external. So you can draw all those things in as evidence. I've just made a note there that there's another Collaborate session for you to refer to if needed, if you're not sure of what the breakdown of Learning Objective 6 is, and it's also covered in the Week 10 learning materials. So there's a fair bit of support there. Please don't feel that you can't ask questions or follow through. The inclusions that you put together will also assist you in demonstrating your evidence and proficiency for the standards 1, 2, 3 and 6, and could also be useful when you're putting together your portfolio. So hopefully it's not a wasted experience. So the learning outcomes for the assessment task are learning outcomes 3, construct processes and experiences that develop literacy capabilities with and beyond disciplinary areas. 4, evaluate understanding of literacy conventions and demands associated with particular curriculum areas. 5, design effective communication using a range of media as appropriate for specific educational purposes. So we're thinking about ICT there, technologies and programs, and then critically reflect on personal literacy. So there's quite a few learning outcomes covered, only missing 1 and 2, so a fair bit of range. So to the lesson plans. What you need to do is select a curriculum area other than science, because we've already covered science. So that could be health and physical education, maths, humanities, or social science. I would suggest that you stick with the same learning area for both lesson plans. It's not stipulated in the assessment, but it's something that you could consider. You need 2 lesson plans. One is upper primary, so years 5, 6. You could do a year 5 or a year 6, that's fine. And that's a 600 word limit for that one. And then a lesson plan for the lower primary context, which could be foundation, prep, or year 1 and 2, or one of those. So we just want that differentiation between the lower and the upper primary. When you're thinking about developing your lesson plans, you need to consider the course content, which is really important. That's what we're going to be looking for. So that could include the writing genre, so the use of the teaching and learning cycle, some sorts of reading texts that would be linked to developing and supporting their content, so maybe focusing on vocabulary or knowledge, ICT and multiliteracies, and assessment of literacy components. And we'll have a look at the lesson plan and discuss that a little bit further as well. So referring to the content, the wiki learning materials as your approach, any sources should be cited, referenced using APA. Okay, so here is the learning plan that we would like you to use for this task. Due to the word count and some of the other things that are included within the task, this has been doctored, so it's not the full one that you would see in some of your other units. So please just use this one because this is what we're referring to. Just got a little bit of a note here with the content descriptions and literacy information. Because you're drawing on literacy aspect as a general capability, you may wish to elaborate on the specific elements being addressed within the content area, and that is up here. So the content description and the literacy information. So just think about how you can show me that. A little tip. All right, everything else is fairly straightforward. There's not a lot on assessment in this task. You may like to refer to it, but it isn't something that we're looking at assessing. Okay. So the next part is the rationale for the lesson plans, and you're looking at 800 words. So it's quite a heavy influence here. So just make sure that you've got enough context within this section. So what you're doing in the rationale is you're discussing how the lesson plans demonstrate your understanding of literacy across the curriculum. We were after a critical reflection of how you plan to apply the knowledge of the learning using the Australian curriculum and associated state curriculum to enable all children to learn literacy. And then you need to explicitly refer to the planning included within the lesson plan, so referring back to that, and pay consideration to how ICT and digital media play a part in children's development. So those are sort of things that are going to be highlighted within your rationale. So the rationale is why you're doing what you're doing, so how it fits and how is it connected and how is it going to support the students. Okay. And here we're going to be looking at that critical analysis as well. So just keep thinking, refer to the rubric, make sure that you've got all that context there. The critical reflection is 500 words. So you're thinking about your personal knowledge and understanding of literacy and your knowledge of literacy conventions and demands in relation to the 3 dimensions. So it's your interpretation and analysis of the literacy dimensions. Consider the why is it so and how this informs your pedagogy. When you critically analyse, you are providing a framework of your knowledge. Okay, so that's just another little tip there for you to refer to. Your strengths and areas to develop in relation to the unit material, and your personal literacy competence outcomes. So this all comes straight from the guide and isn't any new information, so I'm sure that you can refer to this. If you have further questions, just write them down and we can talk about them on Thursday. So the criteria, most important part, I'll be looking at your understanding of literacy conventions and demands, the capacity to plan learning experiences for students that focus literacy within subject-specific areas, so really drawing out the literacy. So you might be looking at a mathematical task. How do you support the students with the literacy understanding? Critical reflection and self-reflection, evidence of your personal literacy development. Please refer to the other collaboration. There's some examples of how to do that, and the Week 10 literacy material, and your ability to communicate. So once again, have a really good look at the rubric, focus on the critical analysis. This is what's underpinning the standards and the expectations. So, just to end, to successfully complete the assignment, your skills that are required are lesson planning, So your ability to develop a functional lesson plan for the relevant year level, your ability to gather evidence and resources, including collation of previous evidence and beyond, with and beyond the unit, wider reading and research, gathering support resources, including multimodal ICT, your evaluation skills to reflect upon how the lesson plan aligns with pedagogy, assessment strategies and literacy strategies outlined in the unit, and skills with evaluation and critical analysis to identify and justify appropriate strategies, resources, gaps, planning, and important for your rationale and critical reflection components. Okay? That kind of covers everything. I'm sure you'll have a million questions, and they don't usually happen until you get started, so this is something that you can refer to. I've tried to break it down as much as I can. Not the end be all and end all, but certainly a good starting point. So thank you, and I'll talk to you soon.